The smog over New Manchester never really lifted, not even after sunset. The neon glow from the skyline made the clouds shimmer faintly, a sickly orange halo that crowned the city's chaos. In a narrow alley on the lower decks, where the ground was wet with oil and the air smelled of fried circuits and burnt bread, a young human boy named Eli Ward rummaged through a trash bin behind a noodle stand. Eli was 17. His jacket was 2 sizes too big, the zipper long broken. He lived in the sheltered district, a place the rest of the city pretended didn't exist. His mother had died 2 winters ago, and his father, a factory mechanic, was taken by illness shortly after. Since then, Eli survived by cleaning old android parts and reselling scrap to traders in the bazaar. That evening, the temperature dropped sharply. Eli's fingers were numb as he tucked a half-eaten sandwich into his pocket. His dinner. He turned toward the small heating vent near the alley wall, where he usually spent the night. But before he could settle, a faint cough echoed from behind the dumpster. Eli froze. A shadow stirred. Something, or someone, was huddled there, wrapped in a faded thermal blanket. The figure's skin was faintly luminescent, a dull turquoise glow that flickered like a dying candle. 2 long fingers clutched at the ground. An alien. Eli stepped closer cautiously. "Hey," he whispered. "You okay?" The figure lifted his head. His eyes were a deep amber, like molten metal. "No harm, boy," the alien rasped. His voice was hoarse, his breath shallow. "Just cold and hungry." Eli hesitated. Aliens in New Manchester weren't rare, but homeless ones were. Most were part of the Intergalactic Labor Guild, or the corporate circles. To see one starving on the streets meant something had gone terribly wrong. Without thinking too long, Eli pulled out his sandwich. "Here," he said, kneeling beside him. "It's not much, but it's warm." The alien blinked slowly, staring at the human boy's trembling hands. "You would share your food?" he murmured. Eli smiled faintly. "Better in your stomach than mine. I'll find more tomorrow." The alien's expression softened. He accepted the sandwich and took a small bite, chewing carefully as though remembering how to eat. "Thank you," he said after a moment. "You may have just saved me." 2. A stranger named Kale. The alien introduced himself the next morning. His name was Kale Voran, once from the planet Orith, an ocean world whose people were known for their luminous skin and near-photographic memories. For 3 days, Eli brought him scraps of food and a thermos of hot broth from a street vendor who occasionally took pity on him. Kale barely spoke, but his golden eyes followed Eli with quiet curiosity. Sometimes he would ask questions about human customs, the city, and the strange obsession with credits. Eli shrugged. "Money makes the world spin. You don't have it. You don't exist." Kale nodded thoughtfully. "On my world," he said softly, "we trade wisdom, not wealth. A being's value is measured by what they can teach." "Must be nice," Eli muttered. "Here, if you can't pay rent, no one cares how wise you are." That night, as rain lashed against the alley, Eli shared his only blanket with Kale. They huddled together near the vent, the steam rising around them like ghosts. Kale gazed at the boy beside him and whispered something in his own language, soft, melodic syllables that sounded almost like a prayer. "What was that?" Eli asked. Kale smiled faintly. "A blessing for those who give when they have little." 3. The men in suits. On the 5th day, Eli noticed something odd. 2 black hovercars were parked at the edge of the lower deck. Far too clean, far too new for this part of town. A pair of men in silver suits were scanning the area with handheld devices. They looked out of place, like predators among pigeons. Eli ducked behind a crate, watching them whisper to each other. One of them held up a hollow image, a projection of Kale's face. "Have you seen him?" The man asked a street vendor nearby. "We're offering a reward for information." The vendor shrugged. "No aliens down here. Just rats." Eli's heart pounded. He ran back to the alley, his boots splashing through puddles. "Kale, we have to move," he hissed. Kale stirred weakly, startled. "What is it?" "They're looking for you. Men in suits, corporate type." Kale's eyes narrowed. "So soon," he murmured, almost to himself. Eli grabbed his arm. "Who are they? What do they want?" Kale looked at him with a strange mix of sadness and amusement. "They want me because they think I'm gone. To them, I am a fortune lost." Before Eli could ask more, A beam of white light sliced through the alley. The men had found them. For the escape. Step away from the Erythian, one of the men shouted. By order of the Galactic Commerce Board, he is under containment. Eli's pulse raced. Containment? He's not dangerous. The man sneered. That vagrant is Kale Vorin, the owner of Vorin Dynamics, one of the largest tech empires in the outer colonies. He disappeared months ago after a shuttle crash. Now move aside. Eli's eyes widened. He looked at Kale, stunned. You're rich? Kale's golden eyes met his. Rich, yes, but not free. Before the agents could step closer, Kale pressed a small disc into Eli's palm. Run, he whispered. This will explain everything later. Eli hesitated, but when one of the agents drew a stun baton, he made his choice. He grabbed Kale's arm and bolted down the alley. Blaster shots sizzled past them, striking the walls and sending sparks flying. They ducked into a drainage tunnel, the darkness swallowing them whole. By the time they emerged near the lower docks, Kale was trembling. His glow had dimmed to a faint pulse. I can't go further, he said weakly. They've tagged my signal. Eli shook his head. We'll find a way. I'm not leaving you. Kale's eyes glistened. You remind me of someone I once trusted, he murmured. Someone who believed kindness was strength, not weakness. 5. The truth of Kale Vorin. They hid in an abandoned storage pod near the docks. As Kale rested, Eli examined the small disc. When he pressed its center, a hologram flickered to life. Kale's face appeared, healthier, regal, draped in robes of dark silver. To whoever finds this, the recording began, I am Kale Vorin, founder of Vorin Dynamics. My disappearance was no accident. My own board conspired against me, seeking control of my technology. The neural lattice, a device capable of amplifying thought into reality. The hologram flickered again, glitching. I escaped before they could use it. I chose exile to see what my wealth had blinded me to. I wanted to live among those forgotten by progress, to understand the suffering my empire ignored. The image faded, leaving Eli staring in disbelief. He turned to Kale, who now watched him silently. You did all this on purpose? Kale nodded slowly. What is the worth of fortune when one does not understand hunger? You showed me that generosity still exists, even where hope does not. Eli exhaled. So what now? Those men will never stop looking for you. Kale smiled faintly. They won't need to, because Kale Vorin, the man they seek, will soon be dead. 6. The choice. Before dawn, Kale grew weaker. His body shimmered with faint light, his energy draining fast. Orythians can only survive so long without the light pools of our home, he said softly. I knew this day would come. Eli clenched his fists. No, we can find a way. Get you to a hospital, or... Listen to me, Eli. Kale's voice was calm, steady. Inside that disk is access to my accounts. Enough credits to feed this entire district for a century. I'm transferring it to your name. Eli's eyes widened. What? No, I can't take that. You must, Kale insisted. Use it to help others. Build something better. Promise me that. Tears stung Eli's eyes. You saved me too, you know. I thought being poor meant being invisible. But you saw me. Kale reached out, his fingers glowing faintly as he touched Eli's hand. Kindness never goes unseen, he whispered. It echoes through every world. And with that, his light dimmed completely. His body dissolved into shimmering dust, leaving behind only the faint smell of ozone and the disc in Eli's palm. 7. The inheritance. The authorities found Eli 2 days later. They detained him for questioning, but when the disc activated under his biometrics, their scanners confirmed what the hologram had promised. He now legally held the rights to Vorin Dynamics. The media called it the miracle of the lower decks. Headlines spread across colonies. Poor human boy becomes heir to alien fortune. Some said Eli had tricked Kale. Others said he was blessed by fate. But Eli ignored it all. He used the wealth exactly as Kale had asked. Within a year, the lower decks of New Manchester transformed. The shelters became schools. The old scrapyard became a community hub powered by clean energy cells. He hired engineers, built clinics, and created a program called the Vaelor Initiative, which offered work and housing to the city's forgotten. Every wall bore the same slogan, kindness is currency. 8. The Return. Years later, on a quiet evening, Eli stood on the balcony of the new Vorin Tower, the city skyline glittering below him. A soft breeze carried the scent of rain and metal. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the old thermal blanket Kale once used. A voice behind him spoke, smooth and familiar. "You kept it." Eli turned sharply. Standing there was a man, tall, graceful, his skin faintly luminous. Golden eyes gleamed in the dim light. Eli's heart stopped. "Kale?" The man smiled. "A copy of me," he said. "An echo created before my body failed. My consciousness lives within the neural lattice. I wanted to see what you did with your promise." Eli could barely speak. "I try to honor you." Kale stepped closer. "You did more than that. You honored life itself." The holographic figure placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. "Never forget," Eli mourned, "the smallest kindness can shift the destiny of worlds." And then, as quietly as he appeared, Kale faded into the starlight. 9. Epilogue. Years passed. Eli's name became legend among humans and aliens alike. The Vorin initiative spread to other colonies, lifting millions from poverty. Yet Eli never forgot where it began. Not in boardrooms or laboratories, but in a cold, dirty alley where a poor boy shared his last sandwich with a dying stranger. On the anniversary of that night, Eli returned to the same spot. The alley had been cleaned, paved, and renamed Kale's Passage. He laid a small offering, a loaf of bread and a thermos of broth, beneath a memorial plaque that read, "He who gives without measure earns more than gold." Kale Vorin. Eli smiled softly, whispering to wind, "You were right, Kale. Kindness really is the greatest wealth." Above him, the sky shimmered faintly, as if a pair of golden eyes watched from among the stars.